Howdy, this is Tyler Disney of Integral Group Oakland. I'm the lead BIM engineer for Oakland, and in today's video I'm going to be kind of taking a look and exploring our Revit template, our template for mechanical and plumbing that we use on all of our projects. This doesn't cover electrical stuff. This is still a work in progress, but we've done a bit of work on it, and I've kind of figured out some strategies and approaches that I like to it. So I'm just mostly going to be talking about what I do and why we do it this way. So first off, my template is not a template, which means I don't make a template file. So there's three main Revit template file types. There's the one everyone's familiar with, RVT, which is standard project files. There's RFA, which is families, and then there's also RTEs, which is Revit template file. The idea with a Revit template file is that you can have your settings in there. When you're building it as a template, it sort of looks like a project, but you can't workshare it and you can't do some other things with it that I actually like to do, so I don't actually think it's that useful. So you'll notice that this is our template file right here. It's an Autodesk Revit project. It is a .rvt. And the other thing is that it has, you'll see right here, it has some existing links. So right now I have an separate architectural model, a separate structural model. I want to add an electrical and a couple other ones. And I'll get into why we do that. But I created these just out of one of the Autodesk standard like example projects. I think it's the quote-unquote complicated or the advanced project that they have. You can download off their website. I just use it as something that's, so because I don't want to have to build a building myself. So anyways, let's hop into it. So the first thing you'll notice is that it's workshared. That's the other thing with the project. It's why it's a project, not a template, is so that I can workshare it. And I do that so that it really streamlines the creation process it really streamlines the new project setup process. So I'm just gonna create new local because I just want to go in and look at it. And I also have it set up so that it asks me what work sets I want to keep open when I open the file. And that's because if I have a bunch of extra links that I don't always need to be looking at, that can slow down opening it. It gives me a chance to close work sets that I might put on a different linked models work set, like I don't know, tertiary linked models or something like that. I could close it, and then that would not open them when I open the project, and that would really make me able to open it a lot quicker. But I'm going to keep them all open because all the things I'm opening are pretty small. Okay, and it shows up on my Sync to Central page. And let's see, what do we want to talk about first? So let's just open up a 3D view so you can see what it looks like. Networking. So this is the Autodesk Advanced file that you can download. There's also the structural one. And then there's some actual mechanical modeling in here that I've done just to kind of make sure that all our families are straight, and for some other reasons, kind of rainy day stuff. So here we are. These are, again, like I said, these are the existing links. So you're saying, well, I don't want to, why would I pull in another link? And the reason is that when you set up a new project, you're going to have an architectural file, you're going to have a structural file, you're going to have a bunch of different files that you're going to want to link into your project. And if all you have is a template file that doesn't have any links already in it, then you are going to have to do a lot of work in terms of updating your view templates and the settings for how those display, for your working views, your sheet views, and all sorts of other things. So what I'm able to do by having this linked in now is I'm able to go into my view templates for things like sheet. So my mechanical sheet plan, it has settings for the architectural link. Annotation categories are turned off. Model categories, I'm turning off grids, I believe, and some other things. Structural, I'm probably turning off floors. You know, I've got some settings that are specific to the links and the types of links. Architectural links, structural links, electrical links, there are different settings I want to change. And by doing it in a template, you don't have to do it every single time you would create a new project. So when you would set this up, you would go in here, you would go to manage links, you click on architecture link, and you'd say reload from, and you'd go find wherever that actual architectural link is, you'd select it, you'd hit OK, and boom, it would pop up, and all the settings would still apply to the categories in that model, which would be, it just really streamlines things. The one caveat to that approach is that I've linked these dummy models into by origin to origin. So if I were to say link Revit, find this, it says how am I going to position this. The ones that I've already linked into it, I've linked into it origin by origin. And that might not be the way your project is moving. The architect might want you to use by shared coordinates. It's not the end of the world. It just means you kind of have to do it manually, which I'll just talk about briefly here. I don't really want to get into it. Basically, it's these buttons. The next thing I want to talk about is the existing levels. So let's open up a plan view of level 1. And then I'm going to go into a section view. So I'm going to open this section. And you see what I've got in here. It's got these levels, which are my levels. And then there are these levels, which are the levels from the architectural link. So I have not copy monitored these levels. They are free floating, except that they're pinned, which is why it told me that. So if I were to unpin it, I could move this. It's probably going to give me some errors because I have some ductwork and other things that are built off of that. But point is, it's not copy monitored. And when I get the actual architectural model in here and I look at their levels, what I'm going to do to copy monitor them is I'm not going to have to delete any of these and create new ones and mess up all of my plan views. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of these levels that are already in my template, I'm going to move them, I'm going to align them to the levels that I want to copy monitor from the architect. So let's say this level 2 is here, and then it turns out that the architect's level is actually here. I would move this over to it. And then I would select all of the levels. And I would say copy monitor, select link, architectural link. Screw that up. That noise is annoying as fuck. Alright, so I've got all the levels selected. I hit collaborate, copy monitor, select link, make sure I click on the architecture. And I go to options for levels. Really quickly I change this to match per head. Don't want it to be 8mm head, I'd call that cord head as well. I would change this parameter right here. It says reuse matching levels. I would say reuse if elements match exactly. You can also do reuse if within offset, because the offset's 0. But I don't screw with that. I just make sure that that I align my levels to the ones I want, and I say reuse if elements match exactly, and I hit OK, and then I actually go to copy, check multiple, and I go through and I click on all of the levels in the architectural model that I want to copy. So I just box select all the levels, which I selected 5. I don't actually want that one. and I hit finish. And then I hit finish again. And now my levels, my existing levels, are copy monitored to the architect's levels. And all of my views are still set up in the way I want in my project browser. So that's just a quick way of doing that. You know, and I have plans, another rainy day thing, to create more levels in mine. So I'd have like, you know, 3 basement levels, level 0, level 0, 0, level 0, 0, 0, and I'd go up to 6 or 7 or 8 or however many I wanted on this, so that any project of any amount of levels, I just set the ones I want, delete the levels I don't have. You know, if it's a 3-story project and I have 6 stories in my template, I just delete 3 of them and I have the levels I need. But I'm all kind of good to go in that aspect. And this one I can deal with 5 levels, I believe. So that's how I do levels. Seems to work pretty good. I don't have grids in my template. That's just something you copy monitor from the architects. It already has sheets set up and ready to go according to our standard sheet numbering convention. So as long as it's a project where your standard sheet naming convention will work, that's good. If it's a more complicated project where you're going to be given some sort of specialized naming convention, then that's not going to work so great. But no harm, no foul if so. But if these will work, it's great because it's already set up. So I'm going to go to my cover sheet, which still needs some work. And it's just a really basic template that I made. And so typically what you're going to do is you're going to steal the architect's title block out of their Revit model and use it as yours. So you'd open their model, click on their title block, say edit family, save as to your hard drive. And then once their title block is on your hard drive, what you do is you come into your project that you've got set up, go to annotation symbols, and this is the family of this title block right here. What you do is you just right click it, say reload, browse to the title block, browse to the architect's title block that you just stole, hit open, and it changes the title block to the correct title blocks for all the sheets that you have set up. So you already have your set ready to go. You also have all of your views ready to go. Drag and drop, put them in. Boom, within 30 minutes you've got a set ready for review, ready for markups, ready for people to start looking at what in the heck's going on in this project. You don't have to try to open the architect's model and print the sheets that seem relevant to you. You've got it already looking the way you want it to look, so that's pretty nice. So those are the sheets. I guess I'll talk about the browser organization really quickly. Your browser organization is going to vary based on your company. The way we do it, we have sort of these working views where kind of anyone can go into, and then we also have sub-disciplines for each user. That's each user who's going to be doing significant production or modeling work. So this is going to say, we change this to say like underscore user Disney would be my sub-discipline, and I would I would duplicate all the views from here that I wanted and change their sub-discipline to underscore user Disney, and they're in mine, and I can fuss with the visibility settings as much as I want. No one else is going to go in there and touch them. So I can just kind of do what I want, and no one's going to be moving my sections around. No one's going to be messing with my visibility settings. So I've got sort of my comfortable little workspace. It can be as neat or as messy as I like, and it doesn't have to bother anyone else. And then I also have the view set up for that are going to wind up being on sheets. And I have view templates. Locked all those. So I have view templates for sheets. I have view templates for sections, for 3D views, for drafting views, all sorts of things. So that is a nice segue into view templates. I have all my view templates set up. Go into view tab, view templates, manage view templates. Look at all of them. I've got a couple junk ones in here, but these are the main ones. So I've got view template for 3D isometrics, plans, sections. I've got a bunch of working ones, which are a little bit fuzzier because they don't wind up on a set actually. Same for plumbing. So these are the ones that just get flashed and locked to all of the sheet views so that you don't have sort of this view setting divergence that winds up happening if you don't have sheets locked. You know, when you go into floor 1 and you turn it to wireframe, but all the others are in hidden line, which is what you really want, and then you've got one setting that looks different from the others. So if you have a view template locked to all of your plan views, they're all going to look the same, which is either going to be good or bad. But if you have it set up in the beginning, at least it's going to be consistent and easy to fix when you do find little visibility issues. You just update the view template, and all of the views with that view template locked to it are going to be updated so that it looks good. Okay. One other real quick thing is the workset QC views. Oh, I didn't even mention the fact that I have all the worksets set up. This is another reason why I have my template as a project, not a template, and as a workshared project. So if you go into worksets, our default worksets are already set up. And the workset QC 3D views are already set up as well. So these are views where the visibility settings, I have only the named workset visible, all the others are hidden. So I can quickly go through here and figure out if I've got stuff on the right workset. And I can see here that I don't. This is the dry, which is ductwork, air terminals, VAV boxes, things like that. And I've got some pipe, and I've got some big equipment thing down here. So I can say, aha, and quickly tab select things, change the workset if it was editable, and make sure things are nice there. So that's a really quick way to make sure everything's on its proper workset, which is great for making sure that your project is at a good quality as you do QCs throughout the life of a project. Okay, I don't want this to drag on too much longer, so I'm just going to talk about a couple other things really quickly. Object styles, which is how Lineweights are presented, are all set up. It's a lot simpler here than it was in CAD World. I have been led to be told, so you want to make sure that this is good. So for mechanical guy, right, I care that my mechanical equipment is kind of thick. That's a 5, thicker than, say, well, this is the same as 5. I actually think I want this as a 6. Glad I'm changing this. And then, you know, my ducts are this line weight, and so you just go through here, make sure these are all okay. Object styles, line weights, which are in here. This is what describes a 5 is like, okay, what's that? This describes it, so you can make sure you're comfortable with all of these settings and change them if you like. And line types as well, and styles. Got all those set up for your details mostly, which I'll talk about when I talk about details. So we'll get into that now. So that's pretty much it. So, you know, I think I'll close with a real quick step-by-step of how to, you know, from the template model, which is stored in, you know, a standard somewhere, how to get the actual project model. So I'm going to close this. I'm not going to save it. So what I would do is I would browse to where my template is. I'm just going to copy it. And I don't have a project folder ready to go, so I'm just going to paste it here onto my desktop, which is not a great idea. From Revit, I'm going to go open. I'm going to go to the desktop or the project folder. Click on this. Detach from central, because remember it's central file, but in your Revit standards folder somewhere, which is not what you want. So I'm going to open it, detach it from central, open it, open all of those. I'm going to detach and preserve worksets. Get this error because it couldn't find the reference files. That's fine. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a save as. We'll just pretend this is where I actually want it. I'm going to rename it IG project awesome.rbt. Going to go into options and make sure that make this a central model after save is checked. Hit OK, save. And so now I am in the new central model for my project in the right place. Of course, I don't actually ever want to be inside of the central model. So I'm going to quickly close it now that I've saved it, and then open it by opening a new local copy of it. Voila, I have my new project model. The next steps are reload the links to the correct links for this project, to copy monitor the levels, and just start cranking. So that's a long-winded introduction to our template. Hope that helps. Cheers.